It's 7:01. Let's go ahead and get things started. My name is Bob Adkins. I happen to be the Dean of Admission at W&J. I have the great privilege of also being a parent, just like you folks on the call tonight. My oldest child is a W&J graduate, class of 2018, and we're very excited that she is off of our payroll and doing well. My youngest is a junior at W&J right now and will graduate in a year and a half, and we're very excited about that. We recognize here at W&J that choosing a college from out of state can feel overwhelming for students and for families. So tonight, we've designed an event exclusively for you, families of prospective out-of-state students who want an honest insight into what it's really like to send a student to Washington and Jefferson College. During this conversation, you'll hear directly from parents of current out-of-state W&J students as they share their personal journeys from their initial search process and decision-making to what their experiences at W&J have been like so far. We appreciate the questions you've already submitted during the registration process, and we'll try to address as many of those tonight as possible. We want to make sure we leave enough time at the end, though, for live Q&A, so we'll make sure that happens as well. For now, though, we want to encourage you to hear our panelists' candid perspectives and gain reassurance from those who've been exactly where you are now. Whether you're wondering about distance, support, community, or the overall W&J experience, this event will hopefully offer a meaningful parent-to-parent perspective to help you feel confident and informed as you go forward making the decision to join us here at W&J. With that said, we've been joined by some great panelists. I want to make sure that they have an opportunity to introduce themselves. So we're going to get that going right now. I want to start with the Felders. If you could tell us a little bit about your child, Jack, his name, his class, what he's doing at W&J, where you're from, and what he's been involved in. Mr. and Mrs. Felder, I'll turn it over to you folks.
Great. Hi, everyone. Julie and Todd Felder. We are from Beechwood, Ohio, which is an east side suburb of Cleveland. Jack is a sophomore at W&J. He is on the football team. He's majoring in sports economics and accounting or finance. He hasn't decided the second one yet. And I'm sorry, what else did you say that we should mention?
No, that's perfect. That's good.
Okay.
That's exactly what I need.
And actually, last week he just joined the track and field team, so that's something new to us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we're excited to have you folks with us tonight. I'll get back to you in just a second. We also joined by the Schaefers. If you could take a moment to introduce yourselves, that would be great.
Hi, I'm Cindy and Joe Schaefer, and our daughter Alexis attends W&J, and she will actually be graduating this December. She's graduating early. She is going to be, she is a psychology major with minors in Chinese and forensic science. And during her, I'm probably going to have to read some of this because I can't remember what all, but she's involved in a good bit there. She's co-captain of the cheer team. She was a link mentor last semester. She's been a student ambassador since she started at W&J. She's on the Kappa Alpha Theta Director of Philanthropy, and she's a member of the Phi Chi National Honor Society for Psychology, a member of the Alpha Lambda Delta Honor Society, and the Honor Society for Foreign Language, and a member of the Tri Alpha Honor Society. And she's also done 2 internships while she's been at Washington and Jefferson too. She shadows under Dr. Heath and Dr. Crabtree, and she's currently doing an internship at the Juvenile Probation Office.
Wow. Okay. She's certainly very involved, as is Alex. We're also joined, well, let me back up by saying no event like this will be complete without hearing from a student as well. So we're also joined by Daniel. Daniel is one of our great student ambassadors at W&J. So Daniel, if you want to take a moment to introduce yourself, that'd be fantastic as well.
How's it going, everybody? Like Bob said, my name is Daniel. I'm current junior here at W&J, currently double majoring in both psychology and Spanish. Like you said, I am a student ambassador. Do you want me to kind of explain some of the things I'm involved in now, or hold on that for now?
Go ahead. Please do. Please do.
All right. So obviously student ambassador. Since I was a freshman, I've done that. I am involved in 2 clubs, the Latin Student Association Club. I am the public speaker for that club, as well as the Colleges Against Cancer, just a general member for that club. And I'm also involved in Greek life. I am the current president for Delta Tau Delta on campus.
So that keeps you pretty busy, I would imagine. Okay. So Julie and Todd, tell me about Jack's college search process. What was he looking for? How did he find W&J?
So I don't know if you can tell, but we're Buckeye fans. Like Jack's baby announcement was Ohio State. His bar mitzvah was Ohio State. I mean, like we always thought he was going to go to Ohio State. And when the opportunity for him to play football became a possibility, we looked at some of the other schools that were in the pack. We actually never heard of Washington and Jefferson, but we looked at Case, we looked at Allegheny, and so then we started to like branch out. Like, okay, who do they play? Who else is in this league? And then we started to read about W&J. So we, before he got any football offer or anything like that, we decided to just take a look at the school. And Jack's kind of a shy, quiet kid. And on a huge campus like Ohio State, he really felt like he would be lost. And he came from a high school with 102 in his graduating class. So W&J really was an extension of like that high school feel. And he really just fell in love with campus and a lot of things that were around campus. You know, we visited some smaller schools that were in very rural areas. And, you know, he basically said, if there's not a Chick-fil-A within 5 or 10 minutes, I'm not going there. So thanks to Chick-fil-A, that was one of the deciding factors. But yeah, he really just fell in love with it once he saw it.
You know, what is it about Chick-fil-A? My son, when he went through the process, had the exact same questions. Where's the nearest Chick-fil-A? Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. Cindy and Joe, what was Alexis' college search process like, and what was she looking for, and how did she find W&J?
Alexis found W&J through, she said that some representatives from W&J came to her high school. And she said, had it not been for that, she would have never even known about Washington and Jefferson. And I myself and Joe, we had never even heard of Washington and Jefferson. But when Alexis started her college search, she insisted that she was going to go to Penn State. She wanted to go to a very big school. That's what she had planned. And, you know, of course, we told her that, you know, well, if you do that, you know, your class sizes are going to be large, you know, et cetera. And so she had a friend that she worked with that attended Penn State. So they got to talking, and he was telling her how big the class, you know, how many students were there in a class versus, you know, the teacher. And so she got to thinking about that. And so she said, well, why don't we just go ahead and go visit W&J? So we did that. And of course, I fell in love with it immediately, but I was not going to say anything to influence her. And so it was on our way home that I asked Alexis, I said, can you see yourself there? And she said, yes. And I really think that even after our very first visit, I think she had already decided that that's where she wanted to go. She just felt right at home. And the one thing I will say, Bob, is I will never forget, I think it was our very first visit, maybe a discovery day. And whenever we walked, I think it was the Rawson Ballroom. I don't know, keep everything straight. But whenever we walked up those steps and you were standing right there and greeting us, I won't ever forget that. And I just thought that was such a personal touch.
It was.
Made us feel at home and like, yes, this is the place for Alexis to attend.
Well, thank you.
She visited a lot of other schools or colleges. I mean,
that's part of the idea. We want you to visit lots of schools. We want you to come back to W&J. I'm glad you guys did that. So, what I know what enticed Alexis to visit. Julie and Todd, what enticed Jack to visit?
I think, you know, one of the things that Jack was, like Julie said, he was looking for a school that was in close proximity to a big city, but he didn't want to be in the big city. We've gone to Pittsburgh, you know, I mean, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes away from us. So we've been to Pittsburgh several times with him. He was familiar and comfortable with the city. And I think that helped him a lot. The Chick-fil-A, yes, but in close proximity to a big city where if he wanted to go to, he's a huge sports fan. So if he wanted to go to a Steelers game or a Pirates game or a Penguins game, he could do it. And that's what he grew up doing. And I think the proximity to a big city also helped him. It gave him that big college experience feel without actually being lost in a campus with 50,000 students. And like you were saying, I went to Ohio State and I had a psychology class with 900 kids in it. And I would tell Jack, I had 900 kids in my psychology class, and I was 2.5 weeks into the class until I realized my roommate was in the same class with me. So that was,
Wow.
and I remind him of that several times, and he you know, he loves the class size. I mean, he's become friends with a lot of kids in the class, and it's really helped him, you know, in the classroom, and even develop, you know, relationships with friends that he's with every day. So.
Okay.
Also, just in doing research on W&J, like obviously the academics are very important to us. And then, you know, for him to play football, he was looking into the football program, which is a great program itself. And the fact that Roger Goodell graduated from there, I think also was a selling feature for him. He wants to go to law school when he's done. And, you know, just in reading up about the school, it really is a great stepping stone for kids to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, we've had a number of athletes who've gone on to law school, so that's certainly a familiar path for him to follow. I certainly appreciate that that's what he wants to do, and I'll give you my retainer at the end of this meeting. So pass it on to him. We're gonna jump around just a little bit here, and I'm gonna jump just ahead for just a minute. We've been talking about the visit process at W&J. What was your visit like at W&J? And I'm gonna bring Daniel into this first. Daniel, because you're an ambassador, from your side of things, how do you see the visits to W&J going?
Yeah, so obviously with being an ambassador, I've worked with a lot of prospective students, and I mean, whenever first I came to W&J on my visit, I had no idea what to expect. Like I said earlier, I was from Houston, so the previous schools that I had visited before visiting W&J were UT Austin, UTSA, so these like very, very large schools compared to W&J. So I was expecting just 2 buildings at max, but whenever I got here, whenever I got here and I got my tour, I knew it was going to be smaller. I knew it was going to feel more personal, which is what I was looking for. And once I was on my tour, you know, I asked so many more questions compared to that I was whenever I was on like UT Austin, because those were big tours, like really big tours. So I really got to ask a lot of questions for like when it came to academics, extracurriculars, and all this good stuff. And funny enough, I actually got to take a peek into one of the classes, and I go, okay, this is only like 16 kids instead of 300 kids in one lecture. So that was definitely something that I liked a lot. That's kind of what I see whenever I'm also giving these tours to the prospective students. Like, it's the same exact kind of questions where it's like, well, what do you, like, you being from Houston, like, what brought you and all this good stuff. But I think the fact that it felt so small in a way and personal. That's the way I always describe it whenever I'm on tours, because that's what it felt like to me when I was on a tour. It felt very personal, and it really did feel like a community of sorts. Like, obviously I was new to the community, but I felt like those in the admissions house now that know that I'm a very outgoing person. So like as soon as my tour was over, I kind of knew, like, it was like, for me at least, it'd be very easy to meet a bunch of people, and I think it's very evident in the fact that, like, I'm involved in clubs and partake in Greek life as well.
Okay, so I'm going to ask each of you, and I'm going to start with Cindy and Joe. How important are college visits?
You mean whenever the student's searching for?
Yes.
Okay. I think it is extremely important. Like I said, we visited probably 13 schools. University of North Carolina, Penn State, there was a good many schools. And I just think for me, it was very important to see, the campus, to be able to, and have the opportunity to maybe talk to some professors, to see, the location where they're at. For me, especially having a daughter, you're always concerned, with the location. Is it safe? Things like that. But you definitely need to take the time to make that visit, before you can make any type of decision.
Yeah. Okay, Julie and Todd, same question. How important do you feel the college visits are?
So very important. We visited probably about 10 schools, and for Jack, he had no idea what he was looking for. So we went to some schools just to say, okay, we went to Penn State, we went to Ohio State, like, here's what a giant school looks like. And then we went to Kent and some other schools that have 20 to 30,000, and tell us what you like about, like, you don't have to like this school, but what do you like about it? You like the look of the campus, you like that things are close. And the same thing with some of the smaller schools that we visited. So we also we came 3 times actually to W&J. One was for, I don't know if it was Discovery Day or the other day that parents can come up. And then we did just an initial tour, and then we did a football tour. So, he wanted to just be sure that he really liked it. We stayed overnight one of the times so that we can explore the area and see what there was to do in and around campus. And, that's when he really fell in love with it.
Okay. So what gave you the peace of mind to send your child to W&J? Because, obviously coming from Ohio and coming from Maryland, coming from Texas, and Daniel, you're not a child, you chose to come here. We're going to phrase the question a little differently for you, but what gave you the peace of mind that we here at W&J, we're going to embrace and take care of Jack and Alexis? And we'll start with the Felders.
I think just we felt safe with him here. We were close enough that we're not going to pop in for dinner, but we can come on a weekend or whatever. And I think just even in the tours, in meeting you, Bob, and meeting the athletic director, and meeting coaches, I reached out to actually some professors before we went there just to get a sense of like, what's it like, what's the feel, and we just felt like he would be comfortable and safe and taken care of.
Okay, perfect. Cindy and Joe, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, it's just like I said, we had made probably 3 or 4 visits to W&J as well, and each time that we attended, it was just, everyone was just so nice. And if you had a question, they were willing to take the time and answer it. And another thing, when Alexis had expressed interest in going to the college, I'm not sure how it actually happened, but she had reached out, I think maybe through email, to a psychology professor, and they said, well, like, if you're interested and you want to come up and sit in on a class, you're welcome to do that. So during the summer, she came up, sat in on a class. And, so that was, that just kind of shows you, the type of school that your child is really interested in, that, they do care, and that they're willing to take the time, to allow your student to do that.
Okay. And Daniel, I know you made the decision, but how did your parents feel about letting you come, from Houston all the way up to Western Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it was quite the conversation. Because like how the Felders and the Schaefers expressed earlier, I had 13 colleges that I visited. W&J was the last one. Had I not visited W&J, I probably wouldn't have come here. But whenever my parents were here, they were used to those big schools. So they were used to seeing a bunch of like close to 40 undergrads at just one school and all that good stuff. So whenever we came to tour the college, and there was only one tour, unlike the other families, I only came once. So it was a one and done type of deal. But I think what really kind of led them to like saying, okay, you can move across the country for college was just how welcoming everybody was. Because to those folks who are in this call that are from Texas, it's a very welcoming state down there. Everybody's very welcoming. So we're used to that warmth when it comes to new people coming in. And I guess they were under the impression that wasn't going to be a thing up here, which was very quickly disproven when we walked into the admissions house and Michelle, our receptionist, greeted us and all that good stuff. So I think kind of just seeing how everyone interacts, and it really does feel like everybody without knowing them. I think that's what kind of prompted them to say, like, okay, like, we're comfortable with you going there. Like, we're still going to be worried with you being across the country, but at the same time, like they kind of said, we understand that you feel very comfortable there. So if you're comfortable, we're comfortable in the fact that we know that you feel good by being there.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so Cindy and Joe, what's Alexis' experience been like at W&J? Tell us a little bit about that, and how often do you see her? Did you see her as captain of the cheer squad? Did you see her cheer this year at any games?
We always come to any home game that she cheers at. So during the football season and basketball season, we get to see her fairly often. And I'm sorry, what was the rest of the question?
What's her experience been like at W&J?
Oh, she loves W&J. She just fit in, and she just hit the ground running. And now the very first year, because she really wasn't sure what college life was going to be like, she did not cheer. But it was shortly after that she just decided, hey, I want to do cheer, because she had done cheer and dance since she was 3 years old. And so I think she really missed it. So, so she joined the cheer team. And I think it was just last year she became co-captain. And she's involved, like I said, she's involved in the student ambassadors and Greek life and all of these different activities. So, I mean, her experience has been wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Joe.
She was not feeling well for about a week, and she was concerned about her classes. And when we went up there, all the professors, all they kept saying was, "Talk to us," not the parents, the student. Talk to us. So when she was getting concerned, I said, "Talk to your professors," and she did, and she found out everything was fine, and so it's welcoming. It's really close up there for her to just to go and talk to somebody, and she talks to him quite a bit.
Well, that's good to hear, because I think professors here at W&J do try to provide a very welcoming experience for their students. And I remember being sick myself at W&J, and every professor saying, "Hey, don't worry. When you get back, you get back. We'll deal with the work you need to make up at that point." So I'm glad that's still the case at W&J. Julie and Todd, tell us about your son's experience at W&J. How's it going?
He loves it. Jack's freshman year started off a little rough. He unfortunately, after the football season, he injured his leg. He had dislocated his knee in high school and re-aggravated the injury after the season. So we quickly became good friends with the trainers. Sake is like a family member to us. He really not only helped Jack, and again, different from a professor, but still a representative of the university. The day Jack had surgery, he called Jack that night just to check on him, which I thought was great, was really nice. And not only that, but when he got back to campus, he worked with him, got him feeling more comfortable, got him a little bit more confident in his leg. Accommodations were made by the school because Jack was on the third floor or second floor of the dorm, and he couldn't walk up the stairs. So unfortunately, he had to move out of his room after one semester, which was a little difficult. Not the moving. Again, the university was very helpful. Sam, was it Sam?
Yeah.
Sam came and helped us in the middle of the night after the Allegheny game to move. It was snowing, and we're moving Jack's stuff across campus, and he was great. And so being in a room that was not familiar to him, away from the kids that he had become friends with, but learning to meet new people. The university was great. They were very accommodating, and I think that helped Jack appreciate the university for everything from the training staff to Sam to professors that were moving classes to first floor to accommodate for him. And what I kept telling him was, that wouldn't happen at Ohio State. That wouldn't happen at Penn State. You would be limping across campus and really, or taking the semester off. Whereas at W&J, he was able to seamlessly go through and get through it because of a lot of the help that the university, the college had given them.
Yeah, I mean, everyone from residence life to security to
Security.
the staff in the Commons that would carry his tray for him because he had a book bag and crutches and no way to do it. So we quickly learned how he can, help himself to navigate campus, and thank God he's like better now. But even with that, it was a good first year and an even better sophomore year, because that injury sort of changed a lot of things, from the momentum he had, like living in a certain dorm, to going somewhere where he didn't know anyone. And it sort of was a floor where really, I think they save rooms for in case kids have, need accommodations. So he was kind of alone on that floor and couldn't really do the stairs to meet other people in the building. But, like Todd said, the university was more than helpful. And it's so hard to be away from your child when they're like, off surgery. He had surgery over winter break, so we recouped here a little bit, but then we had to like let go and send him back to school. And while it was so hard for us, W&J really made it a lot easier.
Wow. Well, I love the Laseko twins. They are wonderful representatives.
The best. They're absolutely the best. Yeah.
They really. I'm glad we're agreeing.
I can't tell them apart, but I love both of them. So
yeah.
There's a trick, and I'll talk to you later on about it. There's a trick.
Okay, I can't wait to hear it.
I got you. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna shift to Daniel just for a second here. Daniel, what's the welcome week like for new students? What's your orientation like for new students?
Yeah. Welcoming. It sounds corny, but it's very welcoming. I mean, day one, your family's here. You get all the emotions. You're happy, you're nervous, you're sad once they leave. And you get a little bit of a break in between, which is very nice. But they keep you busy. But when I say that in a good way. Because it's very easy to just, once your family leaves, to just stay in your dorm and go, well, I'm stuck here for however months, just myself and my roommate and whatever friends I make. But there's a bunch of little events planned. Now they're optional, but you're very encouraged to go. But it's small events that feel very big in a way. Like we had casino night. We had a night where we went to the Olin lawn and there was like carnival games set up and all that good stuff. We had a machine blowing up a bunch of foam. So it was like, there's just these small activities where they feel corny and they sound corny, but once you get there, you see like all these other people who are in the same boat as you. And I think the college does a really good way of like, utilizing these events to get them to come together. And that's where you start to form those friends. So like with Welcome Week, I think my freshman year, it was 3 days. I know now it's up to the whole week. I think actually it's a whole week now.
5 days, 5 days.
Yeah. So I think the fact that it's even longer now is just even better. So, I mean, I kind of wish I would have gone through the five-day one instead of the 3-day one, but it is very welcoming. I made a lot of good friends, and I still talk to all of them now that I made during orientation week. So I think orientation week is something that I appreciate very much, and I think is appreciated by all the students here on campus.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and for all of you folks, I just have a quick question here, and that's, do you feel that your student needs to have a car on campus? And Daniel, do you feel like you need to have a car on campus? And we'll start with you, Daniel.
Yeah, so being from Houston, I'm not making the 22-hour drive up here. I take the 3.5 flight over the drive. So I don't have a car. I'm a little bit more lucky because of my brothers in my fraternity. Most of them have cars, so if I need to catch a ride to Walmart or something, I'll just shoot a message in the group chat like, hey, I need a ride. But before I joined the fraternity, it also wasn't an issue because I had friends my freshman year who had cars, but let's say I didn't have any friends who had a car. And I've actually utilized this service a couple of times. The college has a shuttle that I think right now it's every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, from certain hour to certain hour. They'll be parked outside of the Rosin Circle. And if they're not there, there's a little sign that has the driver's number on it. You just call them, shoot them a message, and they will take you anywhere. I've had them take me to the South Hills or South Mills, the mall. I've had them take me to Tanger Outlets, take me to Target, take me to Walmart. So there's really no need for a car on campus. I mean, it would be nicer. but you have a shuttle, and it's really easy to just find a ride on campus. The fact that there's a shuttle that the school provides for the students to get you places that you need to get. I mean, that I don't think you need a car, and I probably won't drive up here next year either. So,
Okay. Julie and Todd, does Cindy and Joe, do Jack and Alexis need vehicles, or do they have vehicles at W&J?
So Jack
Alexis
is
does have her
fortunate
car there.
Okay.
Uh,
How's that going?
It's going good. She gets closer to her dorm each year.
Seniors have their privileges. That's very true. That's very true. So, okay. All right. Good. And then the next question, again, I want to ask everybody here, and we're sort of going over a couple of things here, but what do you feel like the community is like here at W&J? What did Jack and Alexis tell you about the community at W&J? And we'll start with Cindy and Joe.
You mean the community on campus, or the
Yes.
the surrounding
Yes.
area?
The community
Okay.
on campus.
I mean, like I said, she has not had any problems with anyone. She just feels that everybody is very nice, very outgoing. If you need help, they're there to help you. I mean, I know she's even talked to like the librarians and stuff, whenever, she's in there, and, they're always, offering, support. They're there to answer questions as well. But she has nothing but good things to say about the entire staff. Whenever we were coming up to visit, we met Dr. Sheets, and to this day, when we come to a football game, she'll find us in the stadium, and talking stuff. So it's just been extremely nice experience for both Joe and I and Alexis.
And Julie and Todd, I'd like to hear you guys specifically talk about the football family and football community.
One of the things that was really interesting when we were visiting with the coaches, they talked about groups and activities, and Coach Sirianni said, when you join this team, you have 150 fraternity brothers on this team, and it's true. One of a perfect example. Again, after Jack had gotten hurt, he had to go to he has a car on campus, but it was his right leg, so driving was off the table for a while. And one of his teammates asked or said, I actually drove to Washington, PA, to take him to the hospital to get the X-ray or the scan, and one of his teammates, before he knew I was coming down, he said, if you want, I can drive you up there. I'll sit there while you get your MRI, and I can bring you back home. I mean, it was things like that, that really, I mean, like Julie said, Jack is a quiet kid. He's a good kid, but quiet. And when he sees friends extend themselves like that, he will reciprocate for sure. And it's one of the reasons why the floor that he's on, I mean, there's 12 kids, all of them are, 8 kids, whatever it is. They're all football players, and they're very close. They're like their own little mini family. And so they've got their own little community. Jack's doing physical therapy, and he was coming back one day, and 4 of them were sitting in a car outside the dorm waiting for him. And he said, where are you guys going? They said, we're waiting here for you. We're going to go to dinner. And it was something like that really made him feel comfortable at home, and truly just enjoy his experience his sophomore year that much more.
Yeah, they eat together. They take classes together.
They go to Altoona together, high school football games.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah.
It's a really good group of kids. And as far as the staff at W&J, like Jack will just walk into the athletic director's office and have a meeting with him because he likes to talk. I mean, I'm sure that kids at other schools don't get that interaction, and we really, we appreciate that he can do that.
Okay, that's awesome. I just have to warn you. I've been over my lifetime, I've been invited to be in 7 weddings, and 4 of them were teammates at W&J. So be prepared to buy a few tuxedos over the next couple of years.
Yeah. So buy, don't rent.
I'm just telling you, just get one because it's going to be good. You'll be, just make sure that it's in black. You should be okay.
Jack's
Okay,
an
so
offensive lineman, and so are all of his friends. So they're going to be big tuxedos. So.
special order is always a good
Yeah.
thing. Okay, so just a couple more questions here. Then I want to turn things over to our audience and see if they have any questions. I want to give you all a chance to wrap things up here fairly quickly. But before we do that, I do want to ask one question, and that's if you could go back and think about your experiences with W&J. What's the one moment where you were convinced that your child, either Jack or Alexis, was making the right decision, had made the right decision? If there was one moment, what would you share with us?
Gosh, I don't know if there's one. There were so many, everything just from being greeted, remembered actually. Jack has like a tree nut allergy, and I was like so concerned about that. And I connected with someone in dining hall, like, okay, I knew he was going to be okay there. And I mean, Jack didn't know anyone that was going there. Like a lot of his friends went to Ohio State or Cincinnati, and they were going with kids from high school and rooming with kids from high school. So everything was just like brand new for us and for Jack. And for him to just have come to us to say, like, I love it there, I want to go there, like really that would be the moment.
Okay, perfect. Cindy, Joe?
Again, like I said, I think the very first day, the time that we met you, when you greeted us, and then we were up there another time, and we were in the cafeteria eating, and here, I mean, you were amongst, all these people, and yet you came over and you saw us and you said hi.
So it just wasn't a greeting, it was sincere.
We actually had a conversation. And like I said, and then on many occasions when we were up there for different days and visits, even Dr. Sheets, we would run into her and she would just come over and talk to us and talk to Alexis. So like I said, I don't think there's just one particular one, but there was just, everyone was just so nice. Always, speaking, asking if you had any questions. So I think that would be for us.
Okay. And Daniel, how about you?
I think like whenever my parents and even myself, whenever I went like, yeah, I made the right choice. God, I don't know. This question caught me off guard. Honestly, I think with being and expecting to have, like, I was fully expecting to go to a really big university. I was fully expecting to go to either UT Austin or UTSA. So I kind of expected not to build these very meaningful connections with professors or like people that I might meet through work, like admissions or joining a fraternity and all that stuff. And I think the one thing that very, very much convinced my parents that I had like kind of found a home at W&J was one, after I joined my fraternity. But I think the thing that really sold them was to the admissions workers. You all know of H.J. Manzari. HJ is a professor here at W&J. He's my academic for my Spanish major. I think whenever I went to his house for Thanksgiving, because I didn't go home for Thanksgiving, I think that's kind of what solidified them in thinking that, well, he actually has a home over there apart from, his fraternity brothers and all that. He's now being extended an invitation into a professor's home. And I'm very close to this professor. I mean, when I'm on FaceTime and I'm walking around campus, and if I'll see him, like my parents will greet him and like they'll take the phone from me. HJ will take the phone from me, and he'll kind of just steal the thunder for a little bit. So I think that specifically part for them at least really sold them on the fact that I have a second home here at W&J.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Well, again, I want to thank everybody. This is your opportunity as an audience to ask us any questions you may have. I'm checking the chat right now. I don't see any questions posted in the chat, but if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask one of our panelists a question, now would be the time to do so. Are there any questions that for our wonderful group of panelists here? I see a question for Daniel. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I actually have two questions. And I don't know that this has to do with being far away. We're about 5 hours from campus. We're coming up next month to visit for the first time, a little late to the party, but my son is just so quiet. He is such an introvert and happy to be so. So I'm kind of interested in what opportunities or events like the campus plans to try to draw kids like him out of his shell? So that's my first question. And my second question is, for most of these kids that are coming on campus, this is their first opportunity to really like adult. So what safety nets do you feel like are in place for things like, I have a medical crisis or a mental health crisis, or I'm just having a rough day and I'm 5.5 hours from him? Just things like that, that would, for me as a parent, would put me at ease.
Okay, those are great questions. I'm going to let Daniel start our answer session here. And Daniel, I'd like you to start by talking a little bit about how you would handle that situation if you were, if you were ill. What would happen? What would you do? How did you feel? I know you're pretty outgoing, but what did W&J do over your first week or two to help other folks who are less outgoing come out of their shell? If you could talk about those two things to start, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so first thing first is orientation week. Just straight up getting to campus. You don't even move yourself in. You get here, they tell you what parking lot to go to, and then all your personal belongings get taken from you. And then you go and meet everybody you got to meet. You talk to different offices, you talk to Res Life, facilities, you talk to everybody. And then after that is when you fully get to go to your dorm. And when you get there, it's very nice because everything's there for you already. All you have to do now is just unpack. The first thing I remember doing after like talking to everybody was meeting my RA. Great guy. I still talk to him to this day. So I guess like the first person who really tries to get you out of, like, let's say you're a little bit more shy and a little bit less outgoing, would be your RA. I mean, I remember Riley, that's his name. He would always like knock on individual doors like, hey, like this event's going to go on at this hour. Like, I'd really appreciate it if you'd come. Like, if you don't want to go by yourself, we're all going to meet down in the lobby at this hour. We can all go as a group if you prefer that, or if you'd rather go on your own, you're more than welcome to. So that was like the first thing that I saw that was like, they really want you to get to these events. The second thing, and this is something that I do to this day, the Inside Scoop. So the little diner that's open every Thursday for milkshakes and different activities, that's a great spot to, even if you're shy, because there's people like me who will, like, I always do this, and this is kind of just me being that outgoing person, where if I see someone kind of just sitting alone a little bit, like, I'll personally go up to them and like spark up a conversation. But that's available every single Thursday. I'm probably going to go there once this session's done. And you kind of just get milkshakes. There's ping pong tables, a bunch of different things, a bunch of video games set up for students to enjoy and talk, kind of just hang out and talk. And then I think the big seller of how the school allows people together are the actual classes. They feel very personal. I have a great relationship with all my professors. And with that, you can I know mostly everybody in all my classes by name, which is pretty impressive, because that wouldn't be an option at, say, Ohio State, UT Austin, UTSA. So the school really does a great job at making it feel like home, making it very easy to meet everybody and form at least some sort of connection with everybody. And when it comes to like having a medical emergency or being sick or something like that, I have a trend that I'm hoping to break it this semester. I always get sick during Thanksgiving break, spring break. Hopefully this year spring break goes well for me. But there are a bunch of medical offices down, maybe 5 minutes walking down that in actual downtown Washington. So me, that I don't have a car, say if I unfortunately would have to walk to that medical office, it's literally 5 minutes down the road of my house. The other thing is, in one of the dorms, there's this, you could call it a nurse's office. But there's a bunch of over-the-table medication. They have like Tylenol, flu medicine. They have Benadryl if you're having like a slight allergic reaction or stuff like that. So they make it very accessible for like at least small things. Like if you just have a headache, you can go get an Advil or something like that. So I think it's very easy. If you don't really know what to expect, you can get very accommodated very quick.
Okay. And would either of our parents like to weigh in on that question or those questions? If you don't, that's okay. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it because Jack is that shy kid and he didn't know anybody. Orientation does force you to like meet people, and I don't mean force in a bad way. They encourage it. And actually, at the Discovery Day we were at, they broke the kids up into group activities, and he met some kids at Discovery Day before he even went to school. He didn't know who he was rooming with, and actually freshman year, he was paired with someone who was just as shy as he was. So I don't know if the two of them ever even talked to each other or not. But then he transitioned into a different room because of the knee injury. But it just happens naturally because the class sizes are small. Not all the classes are traditional classrooms with a desk. Some of them actually had couches and stuff in them. So he'd sit on the couch, someone else would sit next to him. They'd have some group projects to do. So he'd have to like meet people that way. And slowly but surely he found his core group of friends. In terms of sickness, look, he's our only, so maybe he's a mama's boy. I don't really know, but he didn't feel good. He calls it, what do I do? So, you talk him through things or whatever, like, is there a minute clinic at a CVS, which I guess you guys don't have, but up here we do. So, he did wind up going, I think, to urgent care actually, and they gave him a prescription. He went to CVS and picked it up. Like you'd be surprised how, they become adults, they navigate by themselves. Like, even though I want to do everything for him, I don't have to, and I don't feel like I have to. So,
are both of you, and I'm asking the parents here, surprised at the maturity that your children have shown and during their time at W&J, or did you expect that growth?
I'm shocked, pleasantly surprised. And I know Julie mentioned it earlier. Jack will walk into Scott McGinnis's office, the athletic director, and have conversations with him, bounce ideas off of him, talk to him about certain things. Scott has asked him, to get involved in the SAAC student athletic advisory committee.
Yep.
And again, it's another avenue for Jack to meet other kids that are not in that football world. He's meeting, other students, and he feels extremely comfortable walking into Scott's office or coach's office and talking to them. Whereas 2 years ago, I don't know if he would have done that without one of us, dragging him in there, pushing him in there. Now he'll call me and tell me, oh, I went into Scott's office today and here's what we talked about, or here's an idea he gave me, or here's what I talked to him about. And it is a big reason
surprise.
Is because of what he's learned in 2 years at W&J, for sure.
Okay, wonderful.
As far as for Alexis, I'm not surprised. She's just always been very independent. So, it's not been a shock for us. And I will say that the spring semester has always been her semester too, where she always gets sick. So she just recently, she was sick. And so that there's like the urgent care. So she's able to go there, and they always have hours marked off, specifically for the students, if they need to go. And so she's always gone there, and got, if she needed a prescription or anything. And so that's always worked out for her. It's never been an issue.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, I think we're trying to answer most of the questions that are coming up in the chat. Did I miss any? Daniel, help me out here, or Carson, help me out here. Have I missed any questions in the chat?
I see a couple questions that were directed to me. I can just kind of try to answer as many as I can as of right now.
You got the weather question, didn't you?
I got the weather question.
Fire away. I'm
Okay.
eager to hear your answer, sir, especially since it's 10 degrees outside.
Carson, you guys know how I feel about the cold. I don't like the cold at all. 3 years here, you'd think I'd gotten used to it a little bit better. No, I absolutely despise the cold, but I have found ways to cope with it significantly. The main thing that I made sure I had were gloves, because my hands get instantly cold for whatever reason. As soon as I step outside, my hands get cold. So a nice pair of gloves. Definitely some boots as well, especially right now with all the snowfall. Make sure you don't slip and slide all over the place. But the main thing is a nice fleece like the one I'm wearing now. This keeps me warm. Even if I go outside right now, this would do the job. But also just a nice coat that keeps you warm and all that good stuff. And in my opinion, that's really all you need. I don't think you need much more than that to stay warm. Let's see. That's one of the questions that I saw. I know I
I
saw
will
it.
say Daniel's younger than I am. I will have a heavy winter jacket on later on today and tomorrow, just FYI.
Yeah, I mean, you saw me yesterday in the
I
office.
did.
The coat I was wearing, that usually stays on a good amount. Um, I know there was a couple more questions.
Going back
The
to
shuttle for the airport. So my freshman year, I did use the shuttle to take me to the airport. They had no issues. It was just working together to find the time that I needed to get to the airport to go through security and all that good stuff to make sure I got to my flight on time. Now I don't use the shuttle for the airport, though. I usually just ask one of my fraternity brothers to give me a ride or something like that. But you can use the shuttle for the airport. I mean, I did it my freshman year, and I know a couple buddies that still do it. There was one more that I can't seem to find, and I'm really sorry about it. Let's see here if I can spot it.
Parents have said all they need to say. Looks like it's rebooting.
Let me just go through. I'll look as well, Daniel. I think, let's see. We have a few questions here. What was most to buy? Let's see.
Here we go. I got it.
You
We
got
live
it?
in a metropolitan area, high school, twice the enrollment. No. I never felt that it was too small or limited. Quite the opposite. I've gotten a very large amount of opportunities here at W&J. One, I became a student ambassador, maybe like the first month into my freshman year here. I've done it ever since. Shortly after that, I applied for the resident assistant position. I was an RA for a semester. And then, going to a small college, you would think there's not that many opportunity for, personal growth and leadership and all that good stuff. It's quite the opposite, actually. Leadership opportunities, I mean, RA, student ambassador, and then quickly after I joined my fraternity, I became vice president and now president. So I think the fact that this is a small college opens the door, it opens an even bigger door for opportunities and, making those meaningful connections with professors. I mean, this is the third Thanksgiving a year, that I've gone to my professor's house, and I assure you it's going to happen this November as well. So, with it being, I don't think that at all, with it being a small university, these opportunities feel even bigger at a small university. I think those were all the questions directed to me, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that's the case, and we're getting towards the end of what we need to do. And I know our time is getting short as well, so I would like to ask all of our panelists to give one last piece of advice before we sort of call it a night. And somebody just asked that question, as a matter of fact. So we'll start with you, Daniel. Actually, I'm going to ask you to give one piece of advice to all the families on the call right now. If you could suggest anything to help their student or child make that decision to join us at W&J, what would you suggest?
I think my big thing is actually, understand what your child is essentially feeling in the moment, and understand what they're looking for in a college. Because I mean, I know I wanted something more small, but my parents wanted me to go to a bigger university. Ultimately, they said it's your decision. So I think just actually listening to your student and understanding what they want, because at the end of the day, I understand that the parents are the ones that are dishing the money out, but at the end of the day, it's us who actually come to these institutions, who actually live here, who actually build connections and all that stuff. So I think it's my piece of advice would be listen, and just show as much support as you can to your students.
Okay, thank you. Cindy and Joe?
I think there again too is to definitely listen to your student. In the case for Alexis, she had her mindset that she was going to go to this big school, and I think what's important is that you do make those visits, let them go to the big schools, let them see what it's like, let them see how big campus is, so, make sure that you visit, and then, just to listen to them, and support them in their decision, because, they're the one that's going to be there for, 3.5, 4 years.
Absolutely. Okay. Julie and Todd, we started the night with you folks, and we're going to end the night with you folks as well. So what would your final piece of advice be to these families?
Basically to echo what everybody else was saying, to listen to what it is that your children are looking for. But one thing that we really didn't talk about today was affordability. And, we always kind of thought like, Jack, you have to go to a state school because that's like, all that we're going to be able to afford for you to attend for 4 years. You're looking to go to law school. Like, we know you're going to have more schooling. And we were under the wrong impression that sort of all private schools were in the $80,000 range per year. And that wasn't the case. And Jack had really good grades in high school, so he's on the top level of the merit scholarships. But W&J is very generous with that. There were some other, like, visiting. I don't know if they still do that, but you tour the school and you get a scholarship for that. You don't live in the state, you get an extra scholarship. So W&J was affordable, and in fact was more affordable than going to a state school, ironically. So I just wanted to bring that up because we didn't really talk about that, and that really also helped make a decision for him.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Carson posted, we have two events coming up here soon. Discovery Day, which is going to be on President's Day, February 18th, and then Admitted President's Day, two very separate events, even though they sound alike. That'll be on March 28th. I would encourage anybody on this call that would like to learn more about W&J to visit us during one of those programs. We certainly would love to have you folks there, though. We want to thank our panelists. If you could give them a quick round of applause. I know you can't hear them shaking or clapping their hands, but they're all clapping their hands right now. So thank you guys for being on the call with us. We really appreciate everything you do. I'm looking forward to graduation for each of your children in just a year and a half and 2 years and well, less than a year for Alexis and a year and a half. Can you believe that? A year and a half away?
Yeah.
Are you guys ready for that? We're ready for it. We're excited about it. So if there's anything you need, though, please let us know. Come to visit us early and often, and we're here for you to answer any questions you may have. So thank you, folks. Have a great evening. Try to stay warm if you're in the Northeast, or even central part of America as well. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.